So I've been getting a lot of questions about which camera to get, the Fujifilm XE5 or the Fujifilm XS20. Some of you guys already know your answers, others are still trying to figure it out. Either way, you're in the right place. So today I'm breaking down the pros and cons of each camera and what actually matters to me when choosing between the two cameras. And stick around to the end and I'm going to share with you guys the camera that I would choose if I were to pick just one. Let's start off with the pros for the Fujifilm XS20. First off is the image quality. The Fujifilm XS20 has 6.2K open gate. I also like the 4K 60, and even though it is at 1.18 times crop, I film B-roll in this frame rate so I can slow down in post. So this has been great. Another thing that I like is the body and its ergonomics. It is hands down the best feeling Fujifilm camera that I've ever held. I like the XS20 over the XH2 body, the GFX 100 bodies, the XT5, and even the XE5. It also has a flip out LCD screen, which is great because for me, when I do my talking head videos, I would like my LCD screen to flip out just so I can see if it's in focus or not. Another thing that I really like is the battery life. Battery life is freaking amazing because it uses the new battery. And let's move on to some of the cons of the Fujifilm XS20. It's not weather sealed, which is a bummer. The EVF is lacking. It's not as sharp and bright. And depending on where you live, this camera may not be suitable for you. Several people have come out and state that it has some overheating issues. Now, I haven't run into any problems, so your mileage may vary. There's no D-pad, which sucks because you have all this empty space in the back where it looks like there could be a D-pad. So yeah, I don't know why they don't put in a D-pad. It just makes more sense. Because, you have to use everything with a thumbstick, and I find that it could be a little bit tedious doing that sometimes. There's also a single card slot. This does get a bit annoying when you film for a very long time at the highest bitrate. You do have to switch out cards, and that could disrupt flow and disrupt momentum for you guys. Let's move on to the Fujifilm XE5. The image quality for both photos and videos are great. The colors are great. It's a 40 megapixel sensor, so it's good for cropping and good for recomposing if you messed up the frame. The aesthetics, it looks great. This is one of the things that I really like about this camera is the aesthetics. It looks great. The buttons and dials look great. And honestly, this is one of the better looking Fujifilm cameras that is out on the market right now. Another pro is if you're a photographer, you'll like the LCD screen. It's also made for a photographer in mind. It's a three-way tilt screen. It's not a flip-out tilt screen like the XS20. Now, the video specs are decent. However, people who are getting this camera maybe, are probably going to be more, photo-centric than they are video. It can film 6.2K, but it's not open gate, and it can also film 4K 60. And another thing that I like about the XE5 is that the dynamic range is a little bit better than the XS20. So what about the cons of the Fujifilm XE5? The grip is smaller than the XS20, so it's difficult to hold. Now, this is where you have to buy a third-party accessory hand grip to make the shooting experience better. Autofocus is not that good. Tracking, forget about it. For single point, it's fine, but don't expect Sony-like autofocusing for tracking. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna put this in a con because I feel as though the 40 megapixel sensor is not for everyone. For me, I honestly think anywhere from 24 to 33 megapixel is good enough because 40 megapixel sensor comes with extra costs that you need to know about. Storage costs. You're going to need to buy more hard drives, more memory cards to store these photos, and that does add up. Another thing is the battery life. The battery life on this is not as good as the one on the Fujifilm XS20. Now, I can usually get by with one battery on the XS20 for a little bit of photos and videos. But with this camera, I do have to bring multiple batteries just because I know that it's going to deplete really fast. When it comes to taking pictures and videos, though, I have to say that colors from both cameras are essentially the same. The film simulations are going to look the same. You can't really tell much of a difference between the two sensors unless you do like a side-by-side comparison. I've done it in the past, and the difference is negligible. But for the most part, just expect the same image quality, expect the same colors to the most part. The only thing that the XE5 does edge out the XS20 in is the dynamic range. So if you're looking for something with a little bit more dynamic range, the XE5 is it. Now, there are some things that do overlap. They both offer similar shooting experience. They are both tiny cameras. If you're coming from a full frame camera, you know that these two of these both the XS20 and the XE5 they're both tiny, but the XE5 is a little bit smaller than the XS20. Both have great photos and video capabilities. One camera leans towards the photography purists. They have the small, sleek, inconspicuous design, all these stealthy photographer would like. The other camera, I feel, is like more of a hybrid camera. But ultimately, this boils down to whether or not your shooting style fits the 6.2K open gate or the 40 megapixel sensor. There are pros and cons from both cameras, so it boils down to what you guys do as a user. Now that I got that out of the way, now which one would I choose for myself personally if I were to choose just one? Now, I've used both cameras for some time, and I've already have something like the Nikon Z8 if I ever want to shoot in high-res photos. And because of the Z8, I know what reliable autofocusing looks like and feels like. I do have other cameras for that, but with a much more, reliable autofocusing and just overall better performances like my Z8. For the price of the Fujifilm XE5, you can really go, like this is getting into full frame territory. There's other cameras out there now, like the Panasonic Lumix S9, which keeps going down in price, so you can get a really, really good deal, a lot better than the XE5. There's also a Nikon ZF, a full frame retro style looking camera that will perform better. Autofocusing tracking is far more reliable. It has great image quality as well. The build quality is much better than the XE5 in my opinion. The only problem is it's not as small as compact as the XE5. Now, that being said, for what I do a lot, I film a lot of content for my social media, for others' social media, for my YouTube channel, and for creative portraits. I honestly prefer taking out the Fujifilm XS20, and that's what I'm going to choose. And here's why. I love the XS20 more. The 26 megapixel files is just more than enough for me. The 40 megapixel RAW files just gets a bit too much for storage, and sometimes it's not necessary for me. The XS20 is tiny enough for me. Although it's not as tiny as the XE5, it does, again, the form factor, it helps me get around quicker. When I was traveling, I like how the XS20 with a camera strap over my shoulder did not hinder me. I actually felt free moving around. I kept it on me the entire time. I didn't have to put the camera in my bag. The grip is something that I really like too. I really like holding the XS20 when I'm, walking around a new place. It's so light and convenient. And even when I'm shooting portraits as well, I just feel so nimble moving around with the XS20. Now, I've been using the XS20 for filming some of my YouTube talking head videos as of lately, and I do love the 6.2K open gate feature. I also love that I could just crop in a little bit or even cut it into vertical format because of the open gate. I also love the video output as well. I think the video looks nice in my opinion. I also prefer the 26 megapixel because 40 megapixel RAW does take up a lot of space on hard drives. The 26 RAW files just eliminates all that, and it saves me so much in storage space. I think the only thing the XE5 has going for itself really when it comes to the XS20 for me personally is that it's a much better build camera, and it's a much more pretty camera. So you need the 40 megapixel, yes, go for the XE5. If you like the stylish looking camera, yes, go for the XE5. If you can afford that camera, yes, go for the XE5. I just like walking around with the XS20 more than I do the XE5. I just have more fun just because of the way it feels in my hand. The grip, man, the grip is everything. I get more creative with the XS20 than I do with the XE5. And perhaps, again, it has everything to do with the grip. I just enjoy the photos and the video qualities on the XS20 a lot more. And I would say that for someone that, is a photography purist, someone that does more video, but they want to dabble in a little bit more video, then yes, go for the XE5 because the video features on the XE5 is quite powerful. That's a powerful machine if you are looking to do some video as well. The XS20 I feel can work for both sides as well, but I do think that it's more video centric. To me, it feels like a baby XH2S. I think it's a small, powerful camera for photos and for videos, and it's quite versatile at doing both. And if you are aware of its compromises and shortcomings in both cameras, both are wonderful cameras. Anyways, what are your thoughts? Which one would you choose, the Fujifilm XS20 or the Fujifilm XE5? Now, if you are interested in any of these cameras, I'll leave the links down in the description below. But again, let me know your thoughts and consider subscribing for more Fujifilm content and like this video as well. Thanks so much.